Breaking news, the United States is moving on to the knockout round of 16 in the World Cup. They beat Iran 1-0 on a Christian Pulisic goal late in the first half. He was injured on the goal and was subbed out at halftime. That's all the United States needed, and they survived a little bit of a scare, maybe a little bit more than a little bit of a scare, in the final moments of stoppage time. The U.S. finishes second in the Group B table. England was able to rout Wales. They are the winner of the table. They're number one. The United States number two. That means they're going to face the Netherlands in the round of 16. The Netherlands won Group A, and that will be on Saturday. Let's bring in Grant Wahl live from Qatar. Grant, I could sense the sigh of relief here in the CBS Sports HQ studios. What was it like there in the stadium after we finally finished that 9 minutes of stoppage time?
I mean, multiply that sigh by 1,000 for the U.S. fans in this stadium who were very loud tonight. Just a great night for U.S. soccer to be able to advance to the World Cup elimination rounds, but it did not come easy. Defining goal from Christian Pulisic. He's been waiting for this moment his entire life, been getting ready for it. It's unfortunate that he wasn't able to celebrate it and had to come off with an injury at halftime, but I guarantee you he'll be thrilled that his teammates were able to hold on here. And honestly, you wish that the U.S. would be able to sort of add to their goals when they score one, and they just weren't able to do it here. They had a goal disallowed by Tim Weah late in the first half. And then Iran tried everything to try and get an equalizer and had a moment late in stoppage time when the ball squirted behind Matt Turner, the goalkeeper, and Walker Zimmerman had to clear it out. But that was just a really nervy moment for U.S. fans.
Bottom line is they needed to win, and they got it, even though it was not pretty and it was close all throughout. Pulisic leaving at halftime due to that injury. Is there any concern that that could limit him with the turnaround coming this Saturday in the round of 16 against the Netherlands?
Well, we'll go to the press conference afterward here and get a sense of how serious Christian Pulisic's injury is. He was down for quite a while when that happened and really fought to get back on the field for the final minutes of the first half, and did. So I was a little surprised to see him not come out for the second half. Maybe it was precautionary in the sense that Greg Berhalter knows this game is on Saturday. There's only 3 off days between now and then, and you need to have your superstar if the U.S. wants to have a really legitimate chance of knocking off the Netherlands, which is one of, I would call, the world's most powerful soccer teams.
After missing out on the World Cup 4 years ago, getting back into it was one big step, but you know as well as anybody, they needed to do something in this World Cup, but not only to advance, but to do it that way with a Pulisic goal. How important is that for U.S. soccer?
It's just tremendously important to put U.S. men's soccer back on the map. The failure to qualify for 2018 in that World Cup was the biggest failure in the history of U.S. soccer. And so to get back to the World Cup and to advance to the round of 16, and honestly to deserve advancement, the U.S. was the most consistent team in this group. They knew they needed a win tonight, but they did what they needed to get it. And that wasn't easy because Iran had 10 men behind the ball in the first half. They were already time wasting in the first half, knowing that a tie would get them through to the next round. Obviously, the game totally changed in the second half as the game state changed and the scoreline changed. But the U.S. held firm, and it was really difficult on fans probably from a stress perspective, but you have to admire the way the U.S. has defended in these 3 games. They have not conceded a single goal in the run of play yet, only that penalty in the first game against Wales. And they've held some good teams here, including England, to keep them from scoring against them. And if you can keep teams from scoring against you, you've always got a shot in the World Cup against any team.
We're familiar with the 3 other teams in the table, knowing that the United States would play all of them. Now we know their opponent coming up. What can you tell us about how this matchup is going to be with the Netherlands?
The Netherlands I always view as a contender to win the tournament, and yet I've been slightly disappointed in their performance so far. Even though they ended up winning the group, I don't feel like they've been totally functioning on all cylinders yet. And so I think they're a team that the U.S. should not and will not view as unbeatable. the U.S. is going to go into this game feeling like they've got a shot. Now, Cody Gakpo is one of the breakout stars of this World Cup. He has scored in every single game for the Netherlands so far. I kind of had a feeling he could be a breakout star of the tournament. He's going to go to a big club from PSV Eindhoven probably in January. And the U.S. is really going to have to focus on trying to stop Gakpo because he hasn't been stopped so far in this World Cup.
What did you make of the way that Cameron Carter-Vickers performed when that was really the one eyebrow-raising thing that happened pregame leading up to this? How did it unfold to you?
You know, at first I thought it was a real risk from Greg Berhalter to change up his central defense pairing because typically I don't like it when you mix and match and make changes with your central defense partners during a tournament. But in the end, this decision worked out. And I guarantee you in the postgame, Greg Berhalter will say that he went with Carter-Vickers over Walker Zimmerman because Carter-Vickers is faster than Zimmerman, and the U.S. game plan in this game, knowing they had to score a goal, was to send more attacking players forward and leave themselves more exposed in the back to counters. And you needed a faster player like Carter-Vickers to be able to help protect you and manage that risk. And there were a couple moments in this game where Carter-Vickers showed that speed. So give Greg Berhalter credit. I feel like he's done his tactics quite well and smartly in this tournament so far. I do wish he'd substituted players a little earlier in some of the games. Did go to the bench a little bit earlier tonight, though.
We mentioned the Christian Pulisic, not only the goal, but the injury coming out at halftime. Josh Sargent also replaced, landed awkwardly on his right foot. How did that look to you, and how did he look after that?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's sort of a rotating cast of center forwards that the U.S. has in Josh Sargent, Haji Wright, and Jesus Ferreira. We've seen everyone but Ferreira in this tournament so far. I've been wanting Greg Berhalter to use Tim Weah as a center forward and allow a player like Brendan Aronson or Gio Reyna to start on the wing. But Berhalter has really resisted that, has said that, look, I'm going to use our three center forwards, one of them, in that position. It is what it is, and that's the way he's approaching it, but I don't feel like, I mean, Sargent had an okay night. Haji Wright came on for him. I don't think any U.S. center forward has had like a really good game in this tournament so far.
Gio Reyna, again, did not appear. Can they, should they, will they use him against the Netherlands?
I think against a team of the quality of the Netherlands, you're going to need, if you're the U.S., your most creative players on the field. I've come to the conclusion that Gio Reyna is not going to start games in this tournament. I might be wrong, but it sure doesn't seem like it. I would love to see him come on in the 60th minute for the U.S., especially in the elimination rounds, especially against the Netherlands, because I think he has the highest ceiling of any U.S. attacking player. He can do things creatively and create things, opportunities, scoring opportunities in the box that other U.S. players can't do.
Now that the U.S. is into the knockout stage, into the round of 16, what are the realistic expectations moving forward after what we saw from these three matches in the group stage?
You know, it's the start of a brand new tournament now, and I would say that this U.S. team is very confident. They have a swagger about them, and they will enter this game thinking that they can win it. They feel like they can beat any team in this tournament on a given day. They will be the underdog against the Netherlands. There is no doubt about that. But this is not the best Netherlands team I've ever seen. I think they are beatable. I think this U.S. team will be prepared for that game. I just hope they go for it. And if they go down swinging. You know, at this point, the expectations were that the U.S. would get out of the group stage, get to the round of 16. I don't know how many people are expecting them to get to the quarterfinals, but it's not outside the realm of possibility, so why not go for it?
And as you mentioned, only one goal allowed, and it was on a penalty kick, so they've been doing a great job, especially against that England side that's just been netting it like crazy against everybody else. So congratulations to the United States men's soccer team. A big moment today, moving on to the round of 16. Grant Wahl covering it for us there in Qatar as we look at the match stats. The one goal from Christian Pulisic late in the first half. It wasn't pretty. Had to hold your breath throughout the majority of that game, especially in stoppage time, the long stoppage time. But the U.S. able to get past Iran 1-0 and move to the round of 16 to take on the Netherlands on Saturday. You can listen to In Soccer We Trust podcast with Conrad Davies and Pierce watch it as well. Use that QR code on your screen right now. Scan it. It'll take you directly there. They will have all insight, in-depth reaction, and also previews of the match to come. Now that we know there will be more U.S. soccer in the World Cup.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.